Cognitive behavioural therapy. Hey everybody, it's Tom here from the Company Code, author, educator and public speaker. Today I'm going to discuss the pros and the cons of cognitive behavioural therapy. Cognitive behavioural therapy is a practice of mindfulness that will help you to get out of negative patterns, negative thoughts, negative feelings and emotions. It is a treatment that is used to treat all manner of anxiety and depression. It's something that I personally have done in the past, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, it's worked for me. Before I start, I want to just give a little disclaimer here. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health professional, I'm not giving you medical advice based on I'm like the all-seeing eye or anything like that, okay? At the end of the day, this has worked for me, it may work for you. What I'm saying is do your own research, get out there, have a look, find out if it's something that you may be able to work for you, because it has worked for me very well, okay? So, cognitive behavioural therapy, what is it though? It's quite simply changing a behavioural pattern within your mind. Like cognitive is in like your brain function, and behavioural is like what behaviour is created by a thought or a feeling, a negative thought or feeling usually, and how we can address that, okay? There is a term about the brain being like plasticity, and by that meaning that the mind is like a piece of Play-Doh, if any of you've ever played it, and it can be manipulated and be reconstructed. Many have said, and some of you will agree, that you can learn a new habit through a discipline of 21 days, firm practice, but some things do take a little bit more time and energy to make the lasting effect that you want. This doesn't work for everybody. In fact, some more complicated cases where there is perhaps underlying past trauma, it probably won't work. However, depending on where you are on the mental health spectrum, and I say that because it is, let's be honest, a spectrum, and we all experience it in our lives. Anyone who says otherwise isn't being honest. Then, depending on where you are, where you feel you may be, this is something that can be used. It can be used as an alternative to like prescription drugs, or it can also be something that you've used after drugs haven't worked for you. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is there is lots of information out there about this practice, and I'm going to give you an example of how you may use it, okay? There are many different ideas and practices, but this one is quite simple, a scenario. So, you've got to think of it like this. If you're in an anxious mind state, you'll be triggered very easily by any thoughts or feelings that may suddenly come up that you don't feel you have control over. This is not really about gaining control. What it is about is diverting your attention away from a negative pattern before it becomes overwhelming. Think of it like you're beginning to spiral, and you're going to stop yourself from going to the depths of that by diverting your focus, creating, as I've said before in a previous video, a pattern interrupt, okay? Whatever that may be, okay? So it does sort of lean upon the whole mindfulness thing, in that you have to be in the present moment. Because when you're in your head and when you're anxious, your mind is racing like a motorway, really, or some would say like the highway in America, if you like. Things are going at hundreds of miles an hour, and it's very difficult to gain any sort of focus as to actually what is happening, okay? This allows you to stay calm and rational and within the moment, okay? So here's an example. So for example, you were catching the bus one day and you're running to the bus and you suddenly get a pain in your chest. What thoughts does that drum up? Some people, it would be, that's my heart. And then with the worry of that being your heart comes more anxiety. Are you seeing here where the pattern is developing? You're starting to go from a little bit of exertion in your exercise because you need to catch the bus, to all of a sudden physically you're not feeling great, and then in your mind you're triggered to believe that that's your heart and that there's something wrong. All of a sudden you've gone from quite okay to slowly but surely coming down, getting more anxious, more worked up and more stressed out. That is where we need to stop that cycle. And cognitive behavioural therapy will allow you to do that. Even if it's simple as just taking some deep breaths in and out, just very, very calmly refocusing your mind. That's pretty much all it is. That refocus, that reframe, if you like, of your mind is what is going to alleviate that anxiety and keep that pressure away, okay? And hopefully get you back into a happier mind state. Now, I could go on about all the other techniques, but I don't think it's right of me, okay? As I've only used a couple myself. There's one where you literally are in the present moment, and rather than thinking about the negative thought, you start thinking about what can I see, what can I taste, what can I touch, what can I smell. And you use the 5 senses as a distraction to that thought pattern. There's extensive information about all this on the internet. What I would say from today's video is I've given you a very, very, very small surface sort of idea. Go out, do your own research. You may find that this works for you. You may find it doesn't. I hope that it does, and I hope that you got some value out of this, but it isn't for everybody. However, it has worked for me because it led me down the path of meditation, which I've spoke about many, many times, and always said how highly I rated it as a thing, and now how it has really made my anxiety go right down in terms of level. I can do it, you can do it. I would recommend that you definitely research if you feel the need to this form of therapy, because it does work, okay? That's my first video of the week. I want to say thank you all ever so much for listening. I appreciate your time and energy spent on my channel. Thank you all very kindly. This is my first video of the week. Put down in the comment section below. Are you aware of cognitive behavioural therapy? Is it something that you've done? Is it something that you've partaked in? Is it something you know nothing about? Would you like to know more? Would you like me to point you in a direction of where you can get more information? I'm happy to do that. 100% I am. Obviously, I know the English and the UK version of this. There was probably different versions in different countries, but they're all under the same principle, really, of realigning your thoughts and feelings to a more constructive, structured way, rather than the panic that comes with anxiety. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below and leave me a thumbs up and a like. And let's hear that bell sign go ding dong so you know my next content's out. Until then, everyone, I want to say thank you all ever so much for watching again. Really appreciate your time and energy. Back in a couple of days with my second video of the week. Until then, take care of yourselves and bye for now.